Hi guys, it's Mrs. Davis. We are going to be looking at Google Docs today. This will be the first in our series of videos on this. Google Docs is a lot like Microsoft Word if you've ever used that. Okay, so you can see I'm starting out here in Drive. I'm going to go New. Google Docs is the first one that comes up because it's one of the most commonly used. And I've got a little share permission there, but all right, so you can see here's your paper. And what we're going to look at today are the tools across the bottom. So I'm going to write a simple sentence. Here is my simple sentence, period. And we are going to use that to experiment with all the different tools. So the first one here on the left, this is just print. That's an obvious one. This is undo and redo. Undo to undo the last task that you did. Redo to put it back. There are also keyboard shortcuts for this. The keyboard shortcut here is Control Z, and you can see right under it, it tells you, and Control Y right here. All right, the next one, seriously one of my favorites, it's Paint Format. Paint Format takes a sentence. Let's go ahead and I'm going to make a change to this one so I can show you. Allows you to take another text. So let's say here's my text. If I highlight just something I like the formatting on, and I click on the Paint Format and then highlight my new stuff, it copies the format. That's it. Very simple, super useful when you copy and paste something from the web and you want it to look like all of your other stuff. So I'm just going to undo that real quickly. And there's my simple sentence again. So Paint Format, definitely a great tool. The next one is Zoom. Right now we're at 100% of the image. If I go up to 150%, it just zooms us in. Or I can go down to 50% where I can see the whole page. I usually operate in 100%, but if you're having trouble seeing something, 150 is also a good choice. All right, so these are different options for how you format your text. Unless you are doing something really special, I don't use these that often. They're sort of pre-formats. So if I highlight this and I say I want this to be title text, it makes it title text. If I highlight this and say I want it to be a heading, I can make it a heading. I usually just choose to format on my own and not use those, but it's there. Okay, so fonts are always fun. Google Docs defaults to Arial font. Now, you can see I've got a ton of fonts in here. Google Docs is very cool. It is connected to the internet, so you can access a gigantic database of fonts. So let's say I want to change the font here. I can use this drop down. I have all of these that I've already added, or I can go down here to where it says more fonts. It opens up a window and I have a whole truckload of fonts, or I can sort them. If I know I want something kind of funky, I might go with a display font, and these are going to be the ones that are a little funkier. And all you would do is click on the one you're interested in and it adds it to your list. Here where you can see my fonts. So these are the ones that come up when I look at the fonts over here in Docs. If you want something that looks like handwriting or monospace, these are all very techy looking. Serif means that it has these little underlines or little legs, I guess, whatever you'd call them, attached to the letters. Sans serif means you don't have them. So you can kind of see the difference there. Popularity, you know, I don't usually know the names of the fonts, so I don't use that one, but there's a way to add fonts. So, okay, and here's the one that I just selected. Mountains of Christmas, apparently. Now, if I want this to be bigger, I can look at the font size. And they have all sorts of built-in font sizes, but if there's something specific that I want, let's say 30 is too small and 36 is too big, I can click on this and type 32, something in between. So you can also type in there. The B is for bold. It also has a keyboard shortcut, Control B. Makes it a little thicker and heavier looking. Italics, Control I, and it just gives it that little slant. Underline, the keyboard shortcut is Control U, and it underlines our text. And then I can also change the text color. And so you've got all of these options. Or you can say, I want to do a custom color. You can use the hex code if you learned about those in Google Drawings. You can use the slider and lighten or darken the color. Or you can run it around like this and select a color. Lots of options. Okay? Now that you made a custom color, you'll also see it available down here. Now the other thing that you have the option to use here, notice it says text, this says highlight. So if I click on highlight, it's gonna ask me what color would I like the highlighting to be. And you can see here is what that would look like if I highlighted it in a different color. And you can also see right here, it's showing me my text color and my highlight color. So I'm going to go with, highlight none. Oops, I forgot to highlight it. To get it to highlight, there we go, highlight none. So there we go. All right, link. This is kind of cool. If I have a link that I want to copy, so I'm going to copy this. And let's say I want my Google Doc to have a link built right into it. I can click on the insert link and it asks me, well, what do you want to link to? The text is going to read this, but if I do Control V to paste my link in there and hit apply, now notice it changed the color. In Google Docs, a link defaults to blue with an underline. All right, so here it shows you what the link is. Now if I inserted just the text of a link anyway, Control V, there it is. Once I hit the space bar, it automatically formats it as a link. So that's kind of another way around that. So you can insert it using the text, or you can just insert it using the link itself, hit the space bar, and it's a link. Okay, comments right here. Add a comment. You can also add a comment up here, add a comment, or you can do it here. And what it does is it highlights the closest word and gives you the opportunity to leave a comment. And only those people who are owners or editors of this document will see comments. If I publish this to share with somebody else and I put it as just viewing, they won't be able to see those comments. Okay, so then, justification. This is an important one. Left align is what we default to. We can center, so it'll put it in the center of the page. We can right align, and it puts it over to the right hand side. Or this is justify, this put it in kind of in the center, but it's more like a block format. Let's put it on the left actually. Okay, now here's what you don't want to do. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this for now. I'm going to turn these off as well. Oftentimes, if you're typing a paper and they say, well, I want your name to be on the right-hand side. So you put your name in there. And I see students often will put their cursor here and either do the space bar. Whoop, too far. Now it's on the right-hand side. Or they'll use tab to put it over there. Now, this is not a good practice. The reason being is you've actually used all of those spaces. These spaces are counted as letters when you go to format things, and so it really kind of messes it up. So instead, you highlight what you want to move and use your alignment tools to put it over there. Now, if I highlight this, I have not used all of these spaces, which means when I go to format it, it will make more sense and cooperate with me. So that's an important feature. All right, so let's look at the next one, line spacing. Now for this, I'm going to need a little more text. So Elizabeth is a teacher who likes her goats and her dog. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and move this back over so it looks a little more normal. Now, line spacing is going to give a space between these lines. So single space, it defaults to 1.15. So that's what the norm is. Single is going to make it look a little closer together, just a little bit. 1.5 is going to give you 1.5 the size of your font in between your lines. Okay, and then double is going to give you 2 of your font size between your lines. Often teachers will ask for something to be double spaced, and that's what you would do. All right, we'll move that back to the default just for now. The next one is your number list. If my cursor is at the beginning and I just click on this, it's going to give me a 1. That's kind of nice because then when I'm at the end and I hit enter, it gives me the 2. So it defaults to that, and that's helpful. The other options, however, is if I want to do an outline format, which we'll look at in another video. Those options are here also. Sometimes I don't want to do numbers. I want to do bullet points. I can click on that and it gives me a bullet point, and the size of the bullet point is relative to your font size. So the bigger your font size, the bigger your bullet point. Now let's say I want a different shape bullet point. I can do this drop down and make it one of these built-in shapes like a star or something like that. All right, now this is real simple. This is going to decrease my indent. Notice that when I put my bullet in there, it moved in. When I do this, it's not going to do anything. Let's see if I go tab. I can decrease my indent. It'll put it back out. Or I can increase and it'll make it go in. Keyboard shortcuts for this are tab would make it go in and shift tab would make it go out. So those same keyboard shortcuts. All right, the last one is clear formatting. And if you take something from the internet, find an option here. Let's say we're reading an article on National Geographic, and oops, go away. I copy some information from it, so I'm going to Control C to copy. I'm going to go over here and Control V to paste. Now notice how the formatting came with it. If I highlight all of this and I do this clear formatting, it takes it all back to the default formatting for this Google Doc. If I want it to look the same, I can highlight this, use my paint format, and make it all look the same. All right, that was lots of stuff. I want you to go into Google Docs, and I want you to give yourself some text and play with each of the toolbar tools across the bottom. Have fun.